Well, hello there, Jenny and Tiffany here. How are
Hello.
you? Hope you're doing so good today. We just have a couple things that we want to make sure that you know are coming up, and we want you to pray about it. We want you to look at your calendar, and then we're going to prophesy.
Yes.
We only just have a few things today. We're moving into the holidays. Things slow down just a tiny bit here. Slow being a very, hold that loosely. Hold that loosely, Tiffany. But our schedule kind of clears out a little bit so we can have some family time, and you're going to have family time, which is going to be really good. I love the holidays so much. Okay, so coming up in January, you guys know that we have the Crown Conference coming up. So many of you are already registered for that, which we are so thankful. And let me throw the banner up here if I can find it. There it is. And the Crown Conference is at Celebration of Life Church in Houston, Texas, in Baytown, Texas. And it is January 13th through the 15th. That is going to be super special. Last year was really a defining moment for our ministry.
Yes, it was.
And it changed a lot of things for us. It revealed the mandate of our freedom rallies, and it just really kicked off some incredible things this year. And so we know that the Crown Conference is a place that we believe will define for you a year's worth of what God wants to do in your life and how he wants to lead you into new spaces, new transformation, and new territory. All right. So Crown Conference, get your tickets, tell people you don't want to miss it for sure. And then we do have another intensive. We actually have our Prophetic Intensive that starts tonight, which we're super excited about that. We have 30 people who are coming here on site, and all things prophetic, it's happening. So the world is going to be a better place with these guys on the loose, sharing what Jesus is thinking and saying. It's going to be really awesome. So these prophetic intensives, that is just a once a year deal. So the next one is going to be in February. I'm not even going to give you dates or anything right now because we do not have the ticket up. I don't believe we have the ticket up, but we will get that ticket up for you. But it's going to be the ministry school, the ministry intensive. And what do we mean by that? That is where you can learn healing, deliverance, prayer at all levels, whether it's praying for your kids, praying for your family, intercession, or maybe working the altar at your church. I actually saw churches sending their prayer teams to get equipped. Here. So that is in February, and we'll talk more about that later. But the other ticket that we do have available online right now, and you can go get your ticket for, and I'm really pumped about this. I have this really, really strong, I don't want to say feeling, but just a knowing. That's what it is. It's a knowing that the Michigan Freedom Rally is going to be a defining rally. It's going to be something that I believe everybody who comes is going to get something just unique and special, and an equipping is going to take place. So coming to Michigan would be, if you're looking at your calendar saying, okay, I want to be able to hit a freedom rally this year or a couple of them or whatever, I want you to highly consider coming to Rochester, Michigan. And we're at Oakland Church with our good friends, Amira and Dominic Rousseau. They have an incredible church there, incredible body of people, just really neat location, really neat people. And most importantly, they are saturated in the presence of God. And so we know that it's going to be super special. And that is March 3rd and 4th. So Thursday night is the 3rd, and then all day Friday and the evening on Friday the 4th. So we have an early bird price up for that ticket right now. The early bird price is $75. And you can go to telestiministries.com, or if you don't want to try to spell Tetelestai, which I'm always like Tetelestai, and it's been since 2015. So I still have to think to spell it. Crazy, right?
Yes.
You can shortcut that to john1930.com, and that will take you to the Tetelestai website, or you can go to hervoicemovement.com. Either way, it's going to get you to the ticket for Michigan. All right. So make sure that you get in on that. The early bird is open for a while up until February 1st, but we still don't want you to delay. We want you to get your ticket. We want you to invite people, get your airline tickets, plan for all the babysitters, all the things. I really felt that Michigan, and you've heard me talk about this because I talked about it with our team.
About it. Yeah, it's so
and
good.
To our church. But I really felt like Michigan was going to be a place for people to have massive growth in the spirit. massive growth in the spirit. And I believe it's a combination of what God's going to do there. But I also believe it's an actual impartation from this church that we're going to. I believe that's something that all of us need, that we're going to pick up when we're there. And there's this cross-pollination that's happening. So anyway, that is that. And now we're going to begin to prophesy, which is kind of fun since we're going into 4 days of prophetic. There are going to be so many prophetic words flying. It's going to be really fun. Amazing. But Friday, tell them about what we're going to do on Friday with the students that are coming to the intensive.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do is get them activated. And so we're going to do a lot of intense training on and teaching and equipping on the prophetic. And then we don't want it just to stay with them.
Yeah.
And they just go home and go, okay, this is still really scary.
Yeah.
Because it's not. And anyone can prophesy. And we really believe that.
Yeah.
And like you all can even prophesy to each other. And you guys know we've created a prophetic community with Word on Wednesday. But what we want to do is we want to bring these guys in to this setting and have them prophesy. And you guys might have seen us do that with Forging Diamonds and our other type of things where we're teaching on the prophetic.
Yes.
But it's really important to like be able to go, okay, God, like I'm just going to allow you to download right now. And
on the spot.
Yes, on the spot, download, boom, deliver an encouraging word. It doesn't have to be complicated. And that's the biggest thing that I've personally learned just from being on Word on Wednesday is that this is not complicated. God is not complicated. He is not, there's not some elite ladder you have to climb up to be able to prophesy.
That's right.
It is for all of us, and it is a gift, and it is amazing when we tap into his voice and we hear his heart for people.
That's right.
And I think that's where, and then you just, you work out that muscle and it gets a little bit easier, And so we want them working out. We're basically going to put them through a prophetic workout.
Yes.
And just go, okay, we're just going to do some push-ups. We're going to do some sit-ups. We're just going to get you, flowing in the prophetic, and it's going to be really awesome. So if you guys could join us and just share the broadcast and just do, just get the word out on Friday afternoon, about 4:00.
Friday at 4-ish, give or take a couple minutes.
And we have a group of 30 so that we'll just unleash them and let them prophesy, but we'll do just like this on Jenny's page. And we're going to just let them be activated and just hear what God has to say. And so if you're on live, that's the best because, your name will be pulled to be prophesied potentially, depending on how many people are on. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. And it is simple, you guys. Like hearing God's voice, it's just, it's really just tapping into his heart and listening to the things that he wants to say versus letting the biggest thing that I've had to do is allow my thoughts to take a back seat. And like all of the things that are swirling around in me to just go ahead and sit down and just allow the Lord. It's kind of like when you're listening to someone, you have to stop talking. You have to I can't pray and listen, I can't pray out loud and then listen at the same time and receive. So I have to be quiet. I have to go, okay, Lord, what are you saying? And that once you learn how to do that, it just comes really naturally. And so there's a muscle that you have to kind of work out a little bit, and it's okay. But it's super simple. Yeah, it's very, God is so much fun, and it's so simple. And so, anyways, that's what I'm excited about it. It's gonna be really fun.
One thing that we're gonna talk to the students tonight about, and so I'll just give it to you because we love to give what we're doing here to anybody that isn't here, and obviously we can't give you 4 days worth of stuff because that's how long they're with us. But one of the things that is really helpful is the understanding that if I'm talking, so let's say I'm talking to you and we're driving somewhere or we're having coffee or we're working or whatever. And I'm like, hey, Tiffany, and I ask you a question. I don't sit there for 2 minutes and wait for you to respond.
Right.
Because that would be weird.
Yeah.
And you're my friend.
Yeah.
And we're talking.
Yes.
So when you talk to God, he doesn't take a long time to respond.
No.
He's actually talking right then.
Yes.
He's actually responding right then. And
we just doubt it, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that sounds like me.
And so, but if I'm talking and I ask you a question, but I keep talking, you're going to wait until I'm done.
Right.
So there is the question, and then there's now I'm going to hear what you're going to say.
Yes.
And that's the receiving part. That's the part where I receive and I hear. And then here's what's so helpful. We call it the first thought principle. What's the first thought that came to mind when you started listening? And instead of trying to change it, or maybe no, well, it had to be harder than that. So let me try to go to the third dimension. That's one of the things I was telling Tiffany the other day. As I said, I'm so excited about this school because people don't have to leave Earth to hear God's voice. You don't have to go somewhere into the spiritual realm. We are spiritual beings already.
Yes.
So we don't have to go somewhere spiritual. We are already spiritual. And so we use things like, okay, let's just do this for fun, Tiffany. I'll just put you under this right now. So I'm going to grab this item because it was sitting here on my countertop. And I'm going to say, okay, I want you to ask God about this right now. And I want you to prophesy to somebody on here about this. Okay. It's Lysol disinfectant spray. All right. And it says on here, pro commercial use. It says advanced, deep clean, all purpose cleaner, lemon breeze scent. That's awesome. And anything else you want to look on here, but it's a spray bottle of Lysol. Okay. So now I want you to use this and ask God, hey, would you use, because what happens is people think that God, that he only speaks in this like galactic, super dimensional, super beam, whatever. And here's the thing, everybody, God talks to us through everything, through all creation.
That's right.
And it's not that I overly focus on everything in my house. God, what are you saying? But if I want a conversation starter and I keep walking and I keep seeing this, or I noticed it and now I'm making you notice it. So this is what God's doing right now. So I'm just saying, hey, God, do you have anything that you want to say? And he'll use things like this to talk to us. If you like, let's say that you notice, example, and I'm going to have you do that in a second. But we have lived here for 2 years on site, right, to Telestai headquarters at Crestview Manor. And somewhere along the way, it wasn't the beginning. Somewhere along the way, we all noticed that it was exit 22. And then we come off exit 22 and we get on this old highway.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, wait a minute, it's not only exit 22 down on the main freeway. On the old highway where you turn into our driveway, it's 22 mile marker of the old highway. And that was like, these twos started showing up. And so we're like, wow, that's really cool. God, what are you saying? The keys of David. Sean Foyt starts talking about it. And it just started showing up everywhere. And then the other day I'm coming north on 205 and get on the main highway to get to here to take exit 22. And that was exit 22 to get to that freeway. So I'm like, oh my goodness, you take exit 22, exit 22, and then it's mile marker 22. And so that's been 2 years.
It's phenomenal.
It's been 2 years of this really cool, like, oh God, what are you doing? And 2 also means a witness. It means to testify. And I believe that that's what God's doing here is he's building a case for himself on the earth through us and through to Telestai Ministries. And so it's just unfolding. I mean, it could just keep going. Who knows, right? But he's just using a simple little exit sign to speak to us and to give us mission and focus and really to hear his heart. So anyway, what you got with that?
Well, I just immediately when you said it, there was 2 words that popped out to me. It was pro and advance. And then I saw these 3 names, Rachel Murray, Robin Nalvaco, and Brianna James. And what I feel like he's saying to all 3 of you simultaneously in different ways is that it is time to allow God to take you to the next level of like a pro status, like the advanced level, whatever. And I believe it's 3 different things for each of you, but there's something in your life that you are a student of. You have been like, okay, I'm doing this thing. Like you've accepted it. This is the thing that I'm going to do right now. Like, for me, there's like a business involved and there's, like whatever, it could be anything. And it's like, okay, this thing I've decided to do. So there's something in all 3 of your lives that you've decided to do. Like, I'm going to do this. And that's what I saw. And then God says, okay, now let me take it to the next level. Like, now that you've decided, let me expedite and take you to an advanced pro status level that will uncomplicate things is what I'm hearing. It will uncomplicate because there's a lot of back and forth. There's like, well, am I doing that or am I not? Or am I doing that or am I not? Am I going to do, because we can do things. And I am particularly thinking about, something in my life that it's like, I'm doing that. I'm going to do that, but I'm not really doing it. You know what I mean? Like not to the level that I know how to do things.
Yeah,
it's just, it's there.
You're dating it. You're not looking elsewhere. You're not looking around for somebody else to date or something else to consider. And that is that's the one.
That's the one. We found the one. And then in that, it's like, okay, so what are we going to do with it? How do you want to, and God leaves that part up to us, you guys.
Yeah.
Like he gives us gifts, talents, and abilities on the inside of us there's certain things that we are naturally pro at. Like we are just natural, like we are advanced in certain areas, and that's called our gifts, talents, and abilities, right? We're naturally pro status at a few things that he's gifted us to. But then he also gives us the ability to equip ourselves to become pro status in the things that we know he's calling us to. And so I don't know if that makes any sense, but to me, it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm probably just prophesying to myself. And, Rachel, Robin, and Brianna, if any of this is like ringing a bell, obviously say something, because that's always really fun for people to see our comments. We'll scroll down here. But
I do have, okay, before you, are you changing?
No, I'm not changing.
Okay,
there was one more thing that I saw
jump on it
with social media.
Okay.
One of you is in the social media realm,
cool,
and you have something to offer, and it is definitely time to become a pro at that thing. Like, just let it be what you're doing and be really good at it. Like, I give you permission to be excellent at that thing, whatever you're doing. So yeah.
Amen.
Advanced pro status excellence.
That's really good. Well, when you were talking, I thought, okay, this is awesome. Because what I saw was, what does this do? It kills the germs.
Mm-hmm.
It kills the bacteria. It kills the stuff that makes us sick.
99.9%.
And so I think that anytime we're deciding to take up the territory of the assignment, we can't take the thoughts that cause the bacteria and the sickness to that space.
That's right.
And I felt like here's the key to the pro status is killing those thoughts that won't let you take territory, that won't let you go to the next level. So that is taking every thought captive.
Come on, that's
and
so
making
good.
it obedient to Christ, right? That's in Corinthians, taking every thought captive. Actually, what's really cool about that verse, in fact, we need to find it where that is, if you could look it up, but taking every thought captive and making it obedient as a prisoner of war is what that scripture says. Do you know that prisoners of war, Tiffany, that they actually ended up becoming on the team of the people, the side of the people who caught them and took them prisoner of war. Now they had to work for them.
Yeah.
So when you have a thought that's like, you are not qualified, you're not very good at this. Okay, that's not a godly thought. So you have to take it captive because it's roaming out there and it's against your destiny. And you take it captive and you make it become a prisoner of war, meaning now you make it work for you. So that thought that was, I wasn't good enough, I'm not qualified. Now you actually go and you say, you know what, I'm going to make you work for me.
Yeah.
And you go to the Word of God and find out scriptures, like Google scriptures on confidence. And then you take those scriptures and those scriptures now work for you. They become your new renewing of the mind. They become your declaration. They become what you say and how you reverse what that thought was doing before it was taken captive. And you make that thought go to work for you. It's like you get to, a lot of people, when it comes to fear or when it comes to, just running away from negative stuff, sometimes you don't want to just put your head in the sand and pretend it's not there. Or, I'm just going to ignore the fear. Well, honestly, you can look at fear and say, okay, what are you actually saying? Okay, you're saying that I'm not good enough. Okay, that's clarity for me, because now I'm going to sit down with the Holy Spirit and I'm going to say, Holy Spirit, am I not good enough or am I good enough? And he's going to immediately say, you're good enough. And then you're going to say, okay, I want the truth of the matter. Tell me the truth, because that's the lie. What's the truth?
Yes.
And he might have you go to the Word, because the Word is truth, and it does cut to the deepest place. It cuts to the bone marrow. Did you find that scripture?
Yeah, 2 Corinthians 10:5.
You memorize that.
And it says, we can demolish every deceptive fantasy that opposes God and break through every arrogant attitude that is raised up in defiance of the true knowledge of God. We capture, like prisoners of war, every thought and insist that it bow in obedience to the Anointed One, Jesus.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good. So, that was just a little simple, like, hey, God, what do you want? I mean, that was just literally me grabbing this because it was here. So we didn't have to try. We just had to be curious. We had to say, it's kind of like, my kids come home from being in the homeschool room and with their little teacher, and they come in and then they throw their backpacks down, they, you know, go to the TV, go take a, you know, get a snack and all that. And I could be working and be like, hey, you know, but I can also be curious about what they're doing. And I can also be curious about interacting with them when I choose to be. And so with God, you can do that anytime. You know, through your day, you can be like, hey, what are you thinking about?
Yes.
You know, so it's like we get to step into, my kids get to step into interaction with me at all times, but I'm not talking to them all day. Like, but the second they need me, like that we have this thing where they go like this, they put their hand on our shoulder if we're talking, you know, at church or anywhere that we're with people, and they put their, that means one of your children is touching you and needs your attention. And I don't give that privilege to anybody else except for my own kids.
Right.
So they can actually interrupt me at any time. So, you know, it's not like we're interrupting God because he's communing with us 24/7. But my point is that we get to engage in conversation whenever we want. Like if you're doing the dishes or next time you're doing the laundry or next time you're doing something just mundane and boring, just say, God, hey, let's talk about something. What's on your mind? What do you want to talk about? And he might show you like the Lysol, right? He might show you one of your kids, you know, little tiny shirts that you're folding. And he might say, you know what? Look at what that shirt says. And it says, you know, kindness. And he might say, you know what? I want you to begin to intercede that word over that child right now and just begin to pray and thank me for kindness, a deposit of kindness in their heart. You know, it's just, you guys, it's endless. Like if my kids want to talk to me, I'm talking. Okay. Now, if I'm on a phone call or if I'm doing something like this, it's like, okay, hold on a second. But see, with God, it's not like that. We can, you know, I'm not omnipresent. He is.
That's right.
He's omnipresent. So we get to talk to him any time of the day, all day, whenever, just because we want to. It's really awesome. And I can't imagine living a Christian life where I don't get to just talk to him about anything, even just because I'm bored, maybe. Right. So if you've been living maybe in a relationship with God where it's kind of like, maybe you've gotten a little too serious with God. Maybe you've gotten like, you know, we can only talk when it's like earth-shattering stuff.
I love this right here. I've experienced the glory of God doing my dishes as a stay-at-home mom. It was my holiest place in the house for a season.
Yeah.
That just gives me yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Love that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I agree with that. I think that is so special. That's really, really neat. So as far as your relationship with God, this is just a prophetic word for everybody. And I've been telling my team that we're making these shirts because I can feel it so strong in my spirit, but just the word relax.
Yeah.
Like I just say relax with the period, just relax. That is probably going to do more for you than trying to be spiritual. Because when we relax in the presence of God and just be his friend and let him be our friend, then we have a friend.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden creativity comes to us, all of a sudden ideas or just rest comes to us and ease. And so I just want to just prophesy over everybody here, just prophetic direction is that God says it's okay to relax in him. And now relax doesn't mean go unplug from your life and do nothing. Relaxing is more of a posture of this, like, I'm going to strive to get to somewhere. I'm going to strive to get in relationship with God. I'm going to strive to get in prayer with God. And anytime I've had that mindset, I actually don't pray because it's like, no, hey, I'm already worn out and I haven't even gone there yet.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of relaxing and having fun with them and just like being with somebody that's really easy to be with. God is very easy to be with. He's the easiest person to be with. So anyway, all right. So let's see who else is on here. Got lots of you on here. That's awesome. Okay. Gayla, you're jumping out at me here. You know, your name sometimes, and we were talking about this yesterday too, is how God will use things to like prompt a conversation, like a conversation starter, but he'll also, for us on Word on Wednesday, oftentimes it's your names because we can't see your faces, but it's just like this, like, oh, you're telling me. And when I saw your name, I saw your last name. I saw Dream Meyer. Obviously it doesn't say that, but I saw Dream Meyer. And that Meyer is, I don't know if you're local, but we're probably thinking of it right now. We have a grocery store called Fred Meyer. I didn't know if that came to your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
100%. I was like, I cannot wait to see where you're going to go on this.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
And this is first thought. This is the rule of first thought right now.
Yes.
Okay. So first thought was dream. And then there's Fred Meyer, and it's a grocery store that's also like you could get your kids' socks there. It's like a Target-ish.
Yes, you can get everything, but it's not nice.
Yeah.
It's like a nicer.
It's a nicer.
I want to say another grocery store that we're not going to throw under the bus.
Right. Right. And it's
not that. Yeah. It has everything that one has, but it's not.
It's just a little bit more upscale.
Yes.
But it's funny because you can go in and you can walk into the produce session. You can walk into get like a t-shirt. You can go get like Band-Aids, you know, but the weirdest thing is you can get a diamond ring.
Yes.
Okay. So they have, and that was the first thought that came to me. God, why are you showing me Fred Meyer? Why are you showing me Dream? And then he showed me the jewelry store in the front, and all of them they all have a jewelry store, which is super random. If you're not in this area, that does sound so random, but it's really normal for us. You walk in and there's, and I don't know if it's this ring. I did lose my wedding ring. Okay. One fell out, the diamond fell out. I can't remember if it was this one or the other one, but Bob got me a diamond ring at Fred Meyer. And he's not here to correct me if that's not true, but I feel like it's true. Okay. I'm just not that, person.
It's a very nice jewelry place. Yeah. It's like a K Jewelers. It's a form of K Jewelers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an extension.
Yeah.
Sister store.
It wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be like you went to the garage sale.
It's not like the Walmart jewelry place.
Right.
It's not like that one.
That's true. Do they have one too?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I haven't seen that for some reason.
Like that one.
Okay.
And neither is the produce or the meat.
Okay.
So sorry.
It's a little different.
Sorry.
Depending on where you are in town.
And depending on where we live, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's totally fine. So for you, Gayla's like, could you please just tell me what we're talking about? That's all I want to know. But I felt that your joy was in the dream in your heart that God put in your heart. God gave you a dream, and your dream might feel awkward because you are living this normal life. That's what I felt. I felt like you're like, okay, my life is fine. It's like Fred Meyer. It's like, it's everyday stuff. It's socks, it's Band-Aids, it's apples, it's, gluten-free little section there, which is great.
All of it.
And it almost, it does your dream, Gayla, I would be interested in knowing if your dream to you feels like it's out of place. And it's like just way too like extravagant or something. And it just doesn't fit your life. Does it fit? So I felt like God placed in your heart a big dream that's extravagant and beautiful and quality, and it needs its expression. It needs to be expressed. It needs to have its place, even though it's sitting there maybe in this life that you're living that doesn't feel like it has anything, extravagant about it. And it's very, maybe you live a life that is very practical and pragmatic, and, it's fruitful and productive and all the great things. But then there's this dream that's like this jewelry store of like thousands and thousands of dollars that you could spend if you just literally walk 10 feet from the cash register.
Right.
It's right there.
Right.
So I just felt that was the first thought was, and I had to ask God questions like, okay, you're showing me this. Now, why are you showing me this? You show me the jewelry store. Okay, now why are you showing me the jewelry store? And he said, well, remember, go back to the dream in your name. Okay, so just trying to teach you guys our process here. So anyway, Gayla, I would love to know what that is all about. But sometimes the enemy can say, really, that is so dumb.
Right. Right.
Why do you think you stay-at-home mom, just, everyday girl, why do you think you could do that? Right. That doesn't fit you. That doesn't fit your life. That's the sense I'm getting right now. So in Jesus' name, Gayla, God put that dream inside of you.
Yes.
And so we right now agree with everybody on here who's listening.
Yeah.
And we agree with you that you need to open up shop, whatever that is, what you got to open up shop right in the middle of your life as it exists right now. And you don't have to leave. In fact, we call Fred Meyer one-stop shop.
Yep.
It's the one-stop shop.
I
So
love
you don't
Fred
have to
Meyer.
get rid of your life in order to have this
That's
dream.
right. Come on.
It's just all it's one-stop shop.
Yep.
It's the dream and the normal stuff.
That's right.
All blended together in
That's right.
Jesus' name. And we believe that God's going to help you do it because he doesn't give us anything that he is not willing to empower. Now, we might make up a dream that he never gave us and struggle because there's no grace in it. But if he gave us the dream, then he's going to come through with the energy, with the resources. Like when we moved here, it was like, this is your problem. This mortgage is your problem. I mean, we're going to do everything you've asked us to do, but I'm not going to sit home and wring my fingers and wonder how we're going to pay the mortgage here. I'm literally going to execute the prophetic intensive. We're going to do the retreats. We're going to do the freedom rallies. We're going to do all these things that cost a ton of money. And then you're going to have to figure out how to resource it because guess what? This wasn't my idea.
That's right. That's right.
Now it was a gift. The dream was a gift in my heart, but it didn't come from me. It came from God.
That's right.
And so God's come through. He's come through every single time. And so, and thank you to those of you that God spoke to give, especially the give week that we had. And any time that you've been generous, thank you so very much. We had such a tremendous response from Give Week, and we just thank you for that because that is part of God following through with his plan to proclaim the gospel all over the earth. And so thank you for doing that. Even if it was a $5 donation, you have to understand that matters and it is significant. And we just want to thank you for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen. I just want to add one more thing because I'm just sitting over here giggling because we talked about like how you don't have to go to the third dimension to prophesy. Yeah. And I'm just watching people's comments, like Maria Ramos. She was like, you guys are hilarious, And I was just giggling because it's like this friendship with God, this friendship with each other, this friendship with you guys. And God can speak powerfully in this. Like, I just want to reiterate that. I just felt like just such a touch from the Lord on that. Like, it is so beautiful that we can hear God's voice specifically and impact someone while we're having fun, while we're joking around, while, God is just in it. And I've learned that from you. And like, we've learned to just have fun with him. And this doesn't have to be so serious. And it's just, I want to release some of you guys of that, like the religious duty of doing something spiritual. Like there is no religious duty. In fact, God is so fun and he just holds us by the hand and he just walks us forward in all these things. And, I think I might've talked about this last week. I talked about it at some point, but I imagine like when something radical happens, like one of you got on here earlier and said the word that God spoke over you last week completely healed you and set you free, which is radical. Like that is amazing. Like, we don't take that stuff lightly. But at the same time, it's like, man, God, you are high-fiving. Like I imagine him giving me a prophetic word and I'm going, okay, I'm wrestling it out. Like, I don't know if I want to say that. That's pretty hard, And then he's like, you can do it. And then I say it. And then that person is healed and set free. And it's all to his glory. And then I imagine, this is what goes on in my little brain, in my heart, is I imagine turning to Jesus, like after I like went, are you sure? Like, I don't know how to do that, And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. And then I do it. And then I imagine turning back to him and him going, come on, and just high fives me and just is like, that's my girl. That's my, like, come on, Tiffany, like that's what I imagine Jesus doing with me. And we're like celebrating. And he's like, you did it. Good job. Like, come on, let's go do it again. Let's go have fun and impact people's lives. Amen. And so it makes me cry just thinking about it. But it was like, that's how I always played sports. That was that was like the dream, it's like yes, come on, you can do it. You can do hard things and you can do this. And then boom, like that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I've watched you with your family. That's what you've done with your kids.
Yeah.
And you've cheered them on to take a risk. You cheered them on to take a risk. There's something about watching your kids take a risk.
Yes.
And, my son, Sam, played drums for a while. And, when they're like 8 and 9 years old, you make suggestions and they're like, okay. They're like, I'm like, why don't you play drums? Okay. And he wanted to. And then they become teenagers and then they get their own ideas about what they want to do with their life. And you're like, So anyway, he came to this point in life where he's like, nope, I'm not playing the drums anymore. I'm quitting. Well, I had a dream that he quit. And then I went like this in the dream, like keep going because he made a mistake. And he wanted to quit because he made a mistake with the band. And so I just went like this. like a director, and he got playing again. Well, that was a year, I think, right? In real life, it was about a year. In the dream, he got right back at it, but in real life, it was a year.
Wow.
That's supposed to encourage somebody who's praying about something. So anyway, he wants to play again, and then we come home from somewhere, and he runs into the chapel and starts playing, and I'm thinking, okay, he must have gotten asked to play drums like at youth or whatever.
Right.
So he's practicing for that. And so he come back, and I was like, so are you playing Monday night? He's like, no, I just want to get better. I'm just playing. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's doing something because he enjoys it. That was such a gift to me. He's not even scheduled to play, but he went to do something challenging. And then he said to me, I said, what song did you play? And I asked him the other day, and he said, he goes, it's a secular song. It's not a worship song. You wouldn't know it. So probably not.
Okay.
Unless it's my day back, give me 80s, 90s. And I said, and he goes, I'm doing a couple songs that are not worship songs, but they're really hard because I'm trying to get better. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, good job. Like as a parent, there is something about stretching ourselves beyond what we think we can do and going beyond and challenging that excites us as parents and excites God.
Yeah.
It really does. And I was not even concerned at all about how he did. Mm-mm. It was the fact that he actually went for it.
Yeah.
And so God does take pleasure in that, Tiffany.
Yeah.
He does take pleasure in us. And really it's because it requires us to get over ourselves. If God asks us to do something, it's usually we're stretching past our perceived comforts and our laziness. Mm-hmm. And we're breaking the shell of self, right? And that's the dying part. And we're emerging with something fresh that God would, eventually use for his purposes. Mm-hmm. So anyway, pretty cool stuff.
And there's one more story that goes along with that because I'm seeing some of your comments here. And so there was one time where he gave me a prophetic word to say, and it was too scary at that time for me to say it. Mm-hmm. And so I could not get myself. I knew what he was saying, and I was trying to let him help me through it, but I just couldn't get it out. And I knew it. And I'm like, you could call that a mistake. You could call that messing up or whatever. But in that moment, I'll tell you what happened, because this breaks down the religious walls that tells us that we actually can't make a mistake and we're going to miss, like someone's going to miss out, or we're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually okay. Because that's part of it. Like the fact that we would have to step in and do any of this without making any mistakes, like mistakes are wrong. Yeah. Mistakes are not wrong. When you're drumming and you mess up, that is not wrong. It's just, you just get better. Yeah. It's this fact of like, we're going to put pressure on you to not make mistakes. And that is why children quit sports. That is why we quit prophesying. That is why we quit doing the things that God has us to do, because the pressure of being perfect is so strong from a demonic spirit that comes in to get you away from your gift and get you away from being close to the Lord. And so I just think it's like, we have to get this different mindset of like, and I'm even seeing it in sports. Yeah. If you get a coach that is telling an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old to stop shooting because they're missing, okay, that is wrong. Yeah, that is wrong. That is actually keep shooting because you're going to start making it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there's a different way that we have to start operating in all areas of our life that, oh, hey, by the way, I'm not perfect. Mm-hmm. Nor does God expect me to be, nor do you expect me to be, nor do you expect me to be, right? And I shouldn't expect myself to be anyways. And so the challenge is to, okay, here was the response from God. Let me go back to my story. So I did not say what he was wanting me to say. Okay. I did not say it. And I knew it. I knew that I didn't say it. I wasn't trying to be rebellious, but I just didn't have the courage in me to say it. Okay. Whatever. We can dissect that. I'm not going to. But here's what happened. 2 seconds later, after I decided I can't say that, she says it to me. The lady that I'm supposed to say it to says it to me. And she said, I blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, God just told me that. And I did not say that. I'm so sorry, And so then it was an opportunity to minister. I walked away. She still got breakthrough. But then here's what Jesus said. Remember, like we do the high five things? He said, you heard correctly. Mm-hmm. He goes, did you see that? Mm-hmm. Like you actually were hearing my voice. And he said, it's okay. And that was a process for me to just come closer to him and know that he wasn't upset about it.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna get mad at me. And he actually encouraged me through that you did hear right, Tiffany. Good job. Like you are hearing me.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it was fuel to go, okay, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take that risk next time instead of I'm a disappointment.
Yeah.
And back off.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that you can weigh through a word is it edifying, encouraging, and comforting? If it won't comfort the person, if it will not edify them, and it will not, what comfort, encouragement, edify, any of those three things, if it doesn't do that, then talk through it with somebody that you trust that understands the prophetic, because they might help you expand on it. And it is encouraging. It just isn't developed all the way yet.
That's so good.
But if it's encouraging, it's like wondering if I should give the girl that I just met a compliment about her outfit. I don't know if I should say that, God.
Yeah.
You don't know if you should say, wow, I really like your outfit. Like that's encouraging, comforting, edifying.
Yes.
So we don't have to wonder if we should say those things because those are the things that's God's heart, to make people feel encouraged, edified, and comforted. I want to kind of point out what you're talking about here, and remember, these conversations are prophetic conversations.
Yes.
We don't ever plan what we're going to say, ever. We just roll and see what God wants to do, because we believe that the prophetic, which is why we're doing this lifestyle prophetic school, is it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not just a prophetic word. That's
right.
not what prophecy is. Not just a word. Prophecy is, what is God talking about? Let's talk what God's talking about. What's God's talking to us now? And then we're hearing and we're saying and it's all of it, right? So one of the things I'm hearing right now in this conversation is when you're talking about performance. Okay, so a coach that would tell an 8 or 9-year-old stop shooting because you're missing has a fixed mindset, right? And the fixed mindset is, I want to win.
Yeah.
And you're preventing us from winning.
Yep.
Right. That's the fixed mindset, is winning.
Yep.
A growth mindset is, I'm here to grow and help the kids grow.
Yeah. Yep.
We might win. We might lose.
Yep.
So a growth mindset is way more invested in the process of growing, not where we end up.
Yeah. That's so good.
And the fixed mindset will get you in trouble. You know what it'll do? It'll steal your joy. Some of you on here said you need your joy back. If you relax, right?
Yeah.
Everybody imagine their t-shirt on right now.
Yes.
So I'm going to make relax. Because if we relax into the process, into the growth, into the like one foot in front of the other. I'm in this moment. I'm not at 3:00 today. It's not 3:00 yet. I'm right here.
That's right.
So I'm just going to be here. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a hurry. I'm going to settle into here, and I'm going to allow the light in me to comfort me, the comforter to comfort me, and to comfort others. Yes. I'm going to walk in this present state of being with God, and I'm not arriving anywhere. Right. I'm not trying to get to the end of my day. I'm not trying to perform something. And we had sent this out on a business text. Some of you might have gotten if you're a part of this, but I sent out a text from Amelia Earhart. You guys remember that she was the first female pilot to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. This is what she said about fear. Okay. Because a fixed mindset is motivated by fear of not winning or not arriving. Yep. This is what she said. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. The fears are paper tigers. You can do anything you decide to do. And then this is the whole reason I'm reading this, is this next sentence. You can act to change and control your life. And the procedure, the process, is its own reward. So she didn't fly the plane across the Atlantic Ocean to get to the other side.
So good.
She didn't fly it to arrive. She did it for the process. Yeah. She did it because she wanted to experience what it was like to overcome fear.
Yes.
And then,
come on.
Okay, we'll land there. That sounds good.
That's so good.
Yeah. So what if we were to enjoy the moment we're in, no matter what it is, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, but when you're not arriving somewhere that you've determined and you're trying to get God on your map, and you just are like, I'm just following you, God. Yep, just following you. I'm just trusting you. That is kind of the still book, by the way. The still and the Wake Up Dead are starting to merge together.
So much.
But if you haven't read the still book, you really need to, not because I wrote it, but because the revelation is, well, that's what's in us. That's what we talk about. Because what you want to do is not get to the end of your life have all these boxes that you checked and then go, I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I have all these accomplishments. I have all these things I did, but I actually have no joy. I have nothing in me that feels fulfilled. I have nothing in me that I don't have any friends because I didn't do anything hard with people. I didn't challenge my friends. I didn't let them challenge me. Like, we don't want to get to the end of our life having just arrived a whole bunch of places. We really want to say that this is my life. In fact, after every rally, and it's been so amazing and just like, and we're packing up to leave, I like to tell our team, hey guys, remember, this is our life.
Mm-hmm.
Because the idea is, okay, rally's over. Now back to my real life. That's what the enemy would want. He would want your really amazing, exciting moments to be like, okay, put that back because that wasn't your real life.
Yep.
Now you have to go home to the mundane things like grocery shopping and stuff, and mopping your floors and, cleaning out your messy car and stuff.
Yeah.
And anytime that I'm doing anything, I like to say, this is my life. Hey, there's another shirt. This is my life.
That's right.
This is my life. When I'm doing the dishes, this is my life. When I'm casting out demons, this is my life. When I'm seeing somebody's marriage get completely healed and transformed, this is my life. When I'm taking my dog out and she runs away with some shoes and I'm like, come back, don't take dad's shoes. And I'm trying to control this dog that doesn't listen to me. This is my life. Like, this is my life. This is your life.
Yes.
This is your life. And so we can settle into this life. This is the one that God gave us. And I have to catch myself, and I talk about this in the still book, but I have to catch myself being in a hurry to go nowhere.
Yes.
Like, what are we in a hurry for? Like, wait, why are we in a hurry?
Yes.
And so remember that that's also in the atmosphere.
Yes.
It's also in the atmosphere. And sometimes being in a hurry is why we're getting nowhere.
Yep.
There's this thing called slow down to speed up.
Yep.
Where we'll actually get on the track of our life because we're in our life.
Yes.
We've all taken the wrong exit.
Yep.
We've all taken the wrong road, and it cost us 20 minutes.
Yep.
And we finally made our way back to the main freeway or whatever, right? Because we were in a hurry. What if we were just to drive at the pace of the grace that God's given us? Like, move at the grace that God gives you. And by the way, sometimes there's a grace to go slow, and other times there's a grace to put the pedal down.
That's right.
We know that around here. We'll be like,
right.
Hey guys, guess what? There's about 48 hours of slow.
Yep.
And then it's going to go really fast. You
Yep.
can feel it coming. And God's going to give us the grace to go fast. And then he gives us the grace to slow down. So know the rhythms of grace for your life, for your day, for your moment. And it really is day by day.
I literally was just talking about that exact thing to someone last night.
Wow.
Literally, like, I'm like, this is the exact conversation.
Something weirder
we
than
just
that?
had with someone else.
Okay. This is
so prophetic.
This is the weird thing too. So I, what was I doing? Yesterday, I was doing something at the end of the day. And I remember saying, okay, everything feels like, probably because I'm going into Prophetic Intensive. And so it's like, okay, people are coming tomorrow. And I'm trying to sort out how this is all going to look and go. And so it kind of felt like 3 loads of laundry were in front of me just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to figure out, okay, wait. And so I was asking the Lord, I was like, hey, I don't like this feeling right here. So is it me or is it the circumstances?
Mm-hmm.
And then he flashed my mind back to many, 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 many years ago.
Wow.
When we were first doing a lot of business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the same way.
Wow.
Felt like pile. Wait, there's a lot coming. I can't quite sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it got messy really fast and I haven't organized it.
Yeah.
And he said, so remember how I had to teach you how to do the still thing here?
Yeah.
He said, so it's actually not your circumstances, it's just you.
Wow.
In a new setting.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need to work that out. That's not something you accept. You don't accept the idea of like, because here's what I don't like, you guys. This is me. I don't like living my life like I just have to get through it. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do Word on Wednesday. Like, okay, let's just get through and get it over with.
No.
I actually want to enjoy this, and I want to enjoy the mundane things in my life. I want to enjoy. I really do. I want to find delight in my life, even in the things that are boring or even in things that are really hard. So that's really what the conversation was around. So then I went to sleep last night and I had this a note that was folded up in like 4s. And I'm like, where did this come from? And I open it and I recognize it as my handwriting. I don't know when I wrote it, but it was in a pink marker and it was probably from a Word on Wednesday because I was writing for somebody something.
Wow.
And it said, "See you in a field." And I don't remember what, I don't even know when this was, but I know I wrote it for a prophetic word for somebody else. But it was literally the word that God was just telling me.
Wow.
And it was about finding rhythms of, you're going to find your rhythm of grace, just like you did before. And it was like a boomerang. It was a boomerang. I was like, threw that word to somebody, and it just, and it was on my bed, on my made bed, on my bedspread. Wow. And I was like, okay, my kids probably got through my bag or whatever. I don't know. Who knows how it got there. But it was the same. And then you were talking about that last night with somebody. So you know what? There you go. This is what God's saying. Yeah. But it is about a rhythm of grace. Yeah. There is a rhythm of grace to our life. But if we're trying to arrive somewhere and we forgot that life is about right now, it's not about where we arrive, then we're not going to have the joy. And I actually think depression starts setting in when we're just trying to get through our day. Yeah. That's how I feel. Yeah. And you're trying to get to something that you can't quite reach it anyways. So it's like, if you're trying to constantly touch this thing that's hypothetical in the future, fantasy, and you're not living right, you're not touching what's right in front of you and being, and that's my favorite thing. That's what I was talking to this other person about, that's my favorite thing about your book still, because it's not, when we say relax, when we say rest, when we say all of these things, it's not an action. It's not, I mean, you talk about that. It's not like, okay, now I have to relax. I can't do Word on Wednesday because I have to relax. No, it means that's unplug.
Yes. And that's what we think of.
That's disassociate.
Come on. That's it. Right. So we think of like, okay, I got to go relax now. Bye. Bye life, and it's like, no, or I gotta go rest now. Bye life. No, it's learn to rest. And the only way to do it is to allow the hard thing to just be what it is. Like, okay, we have 3 loads of laundry in front of my face, right? So here's where I've messed it up. Here's where I've missed it, it becomes this thing, and it becomes hard, and I can't sort it out, and I start thinking about it. Okay. So it's like, right. Yeah. And she's taught me this. It's like, Tiffany, if you want to work out in the morning, stop thinking.
Yeah. I said
stop thinking.
First is don't think.
Don't think. Like, just, I'm getting dressed now. It's literally like you have to shut that part of your brain off and go, you out of it. Where's my shoes? And so here's what I do. Where's my shoes? I don't know where my shoes are. Where's my shoes? Who took my shoes? Where are my shoes? Right. And it's like this tailspin instead of going, I need to find my shoes. Okay. They're surely around here somewhere. I wore them one time. They didn't walk off. I'm going to find them. I'm just looking for my shoes. That's all I'm doing. And instead of going, I don't want to work out anyways. Why am I even doing this? I want to go back to sleep. Why? You know what I'm saying? It's like we go down these rabbit trails that get us off track. And we're like way over here when we're just trying to get our shoes on to go outside. Like, why is outside so hard? Yeah. Well, it's because of this. It's because, this is a mess, and it's just, we're analyzing that thing that is really hard, and it doesn't make it easier. It's just, you just got to take the first part of the pile off. And I've learned that working with you, because the stuff that I have done, I'm like, number one, am not capable. I am not equipped. I do not know what I'm doing. I'm literally cutting my friend's hair last night. Listen to me. This is funny. I'm cutting my friend's hair last night because he's like, Tiffany, I need a haircut. Please can I have a haircut? I'm like, Casey, I am not a barber, but I will cut your hair, right? So this has become the thing. Yes. I'm just going to cut the hair. Okay. So I cut the hair. I have my scissors. I have boys. So you learn how to do it at some point, right? Because it just gets annoying taking them down the street. So because outside is hard sometimes. So it's better to be inside and cutting hair, right? So I'm doing his hair, and I'm literally looking at his wife while he can't see me. And I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm prophetically cutting his hair, you guys. Like, listen, the prophetic gift has worked very well in the hair cutting business for me. And so I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this looks like it needs to be maybe cut. We'll just do a little bit here, a little bit there, and voila, and he's happy about it. And I'm like, this is amazing. But I'm literally like, it's not going to stop me if I don't know how to do it. Because it needs to be done, right? So there's these things that stop us that don't have to stop us. It's like stepping over this little pen. It's like, I have this big giant mountain, and it's like, no, it's actually a little pen. Let's just step over it. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, and that's how I have to live, because if I stop and think about all the crap that I don't know how to do, I'm just like, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like, what am I even doing?
What was that meme about it was like, I don't know, with the email. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Do you remember it?
Yes, it was like, God, why do you give the most?
Yeah.
Like I am like overwhelmed here.
Yeah.
Like I am crying. Like this is the hardest assignment ever.
Why do you give me the hardest
Why do you
things?
give me the hardest things to do? And he goes, quit crying. It's an email. I was
Right.
like, that's totally, I can get like that, y'all.
Nothing.
I can get like that because I'm like, man. And I'm like, and I'm not an overthinker, but I just know what I cannot do. I know that I'm like, it's out of my league. I actually don't like to do stuff I don't know how to do. I don't. And so I have to like relax and go, okay, God, surely we can do this together. So here we go. Scissors. But that's like my life.
Yeah.
That's everything I do. Because it's just like if we stop and go and assess it and go, actually, no, don't know what I'm doing. I actually am not equipped. And I'm not even confident at all. And I'm just going to go do something I know how to do, which is right now sit on Instagram and scroll.
I'm really good at that.
I'm really good at that. Nailing it. So I'm going to go do that because that takes way less overwhelming feelings to do.
You can't fail.
And I can't fail. And I just don't want to be overwhelmed. And
but
so
you could cut in somebody's hair, you could fail.
You could fail.
You could fail. But let's just try and see.
It's
obviously,
like, it's fine.
It grows back.
Right? I know what not to do. I know what could make a big epic fail.
Well,
so I know enough.
Well, one of these days we'll just get on here and we'll talk about grace because grace is supernatural. Grace is not she ruins Casey's hair and then he gives her grace. A lot of people say, give me grace, give me grace. No, that's mercy. Mercy is I'm not going to kill you even though I want to. Okay. That's mercy. A lot of people don't know the difference between grace and mercy.
Such a good example.
Yeah.
I love that.
Grace is somehow God was telling her, I'm going to make this possible. I'm going to help you do something you don't know how to do. That's grace. Grace is supernatural empowerment. So you will learn if the grace is there and if it's not. And that's what you mean is you go, I don't do things but you can feel the grace.
Yeah.
And the grace,
so you just step into it.
The grace is like, an invitation to figure it out and go for it and see what happens, you know? And so anyway, well, you guys are awesome. We've been on here. Yeah, I know. You guys are awesome.
Deschooling myself hardcore.
Yeah.
I love it.
Tiffany's available to cut your hair just in case you need an experiment. It'll work though. You do a good job.
Funny. I do a good job because I'm meticulous.
Yeah, so exactly. It's fine. You are detailed, which is what it takes. Okay. There was one person on here that asked about giving. Can you still give? Yes, you can. You can go to giveonecup.com. And, or you can go to john1930.com and there's a giving link there, but giveonecup.com has an option to give there too. So thank you for asking that question. We do operate mainly on donations. And so your giving goes to people all around the world who have never heard the gospel. And maybe they're Christians, but they've never heard the gospel that sets them free. And brings freedom to them. So anyway, love you guys so much. We will see you soon on Friday. Hopefully you can be with us at 4:00 Pacific Standard Time. Okay. Love y'all. Talk to you soon.